Are you seeing it now?
Yes, just put on presentation
Yeah.
mode.
Okay.
I'm getting a little bit of a lag. I'm not sure if everyone else is.
Mine's a tiny bit of a lag.
Okay. Okay, we'll just see if everyone enters the webinar. Just a few minutes to start, because I cannot see anyone.
No.
Okay.
No, just 2 or 3 minutes,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
we start.
Is it just just on the right hand side? You have panelists and then attendees. If you click on attendees.
No, it's just because she's on the presenting
yeah,
mode.
because I'm
okay.
presenting, I cannot see. Yeah. Okay. But I will. Oh, sorry.
Seeing 13 participants at the moment.
Yeah.
How many registered for this?
40. Can you have the last number, Anna?
It was almost 40, yes.
Okay.
36 or 37 yesterday.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming it's all resellers. I don't know. Do we know if there are any end users?
I think it's all resellers.
Okay, good. Yeah. Great.
Entretanto, bom dia a todos. Vamos dar aqui mais 1 ou 2 minutos para quem se possa estar a juntar, terminar de juntar. E
Bom dia
às
a todos.
10h35 damos início à ação. Then, Nata, can we start?
Yeah.
Ok.
Yes.
Rita?
Bom dia a todos, mais uma vez. O meu nome é Rita Narciso e sou uma das responsáveis por Adobe dentro da TDC Next, juntamente com os meus colegas Ricardo Monteiro e Pedro Leitão. E para o webinar de hoje, contamos aqui com a presença de 2 especialistas da Adobe, o Dan e a Nata. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Nata. E vamos abordar aqui neste webinar o Acrobat Sign e estes são os pontos que vamos abordar ao longo desta sessão. Aqui a transformação dos documentos digitais, dos tais workflows, uma solução all-in-one, que é o que hoje em dia todos ansiamos. Quais é que são as plataformas da Microsoft que podem ser integradas junto aqui com a Acrobat Sign. Vamos ter também uma live demo e aqui vamos ver também as integrações com essas mesmas plataformas da Microsoft e quais é que são os licenciamentos da Adobe. E assim muito breve. O que é o Acrobat Sign? É uma ferramenta da Adobe que permite o tal workflow de assinaturas digitais, moderniza aqui os processos de uma empresa e elimina aqueles processos que são baseados em papel, e também é perfeitamente adaptável aqui ao modelo de trabalho híbrido que nós já estamos familiarizados. Permite também que poupemos tempo e dinheiro, e é algo que também gostamos sempre de ouvir, e integra, lá está, os aplicativos da Microsoft que os vossos clientes já devem utilizar. Depois, estes são aqui os nossos contactos, que vos deixo aqui. Em qualquer que depois durante a sessão, qualquer questão que tenham, podem sempre ir escrevendo aqui no chat, que vamos tentando responder. No final da sessão vamos vos enviar este PPT juntamente com a gravação e com a apresentação do Dan e da Nata. Pronto, da minha parte é tudo. Then, Nata, whenever you can start, the stage is all yours. So I will just stop sharing my screen so you can share yours.
1 second.
Okay.
I'm just going to be sharing my screen, but Dan will take the lead just for the first part.
Yeah, no worries.
Please let me know if you can see my screen well. Can you see the presentation?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Dan, it's all yours.
Magic, you are on mute then.
Rookie error, apologies. So thank you very much for collaborating with us on this today. Very excited to be here and to talk to our channel partners about Document Cloud. Clearly the focus for today is really about Sign. Apologies if I'm repeating anything from that Rita has said, and apologies that we don't speak Portuguese. So but yes, the focus is on Acrobat Sign, but we're really talking about Document Cloud. I think one of the key messages that we're hoping to get across and looking to share with our partners and customers is that there's a lot more to Acrobat than just PDF or just signatures. So it's a very comprehensive element. Lots of people use these products or these solutions, but don't yet actually maximize the value and the benefit of what they've already got. So we're encouraging customers to make better use of what they've already got as well, and trying to share some of the additional features that don't always come to mind when we talk about Acrobat PDF or e-signatures. Thank you, Nata.
Let's jump into the first one.
So as everyone has experienced, the last few years have been a period of rapid change. Businesses have had to react really quickly to see how they can keep their businesses moving forward as we shifted into digital-only engagements with employees working from everywhere. It's commonplace right around the world, but these changes, they're actually in fact permanent now. So it's not changing anymore. The hybrid is here to stay. And I think it's really changed the whole viewpoint from a business perspective. When we think about some of those key changes that are going to be long-standing, we know that the workforce is going to be hybrid. We know that engagements are going to be digital first, and organizations need to optimize the technology that they implemented in order to continue to support that future of work. Today, even in remote settings, teams are required to work together and stay productive. There's an expectation that there can be an equally productive outcome in digital engagement, almost like in-person interaction. So anything that still requires physical engagement is considered friction in a business. And finally, there's an expectation that the experience employees and customers have in digital engagements is the same or even better than when engaged face-to-face. There's a lot more that we can do today than we could do before. The whole technology advancement during lockdown happened very quickly. It was a very quick jump, but it's facilitated a new way of working. This is the new reality organizations need to optimize for. Thank you, Nata.
1 second, I'm sure. Oh, there you go. Sorry, slides are not moving very well.
So just wanted to share a few figures with you, because again, like we said earlier, we're looking at Acrobat as more as a solution rather than a product, and trying to get away from the product side of it, and really think about what it's doing for business, the business benefits. And the two key things that we're trying to get across is the business benefits for the customers and the simplicity of engaging with Adobe for the partners. And that's really core to the message that we're wanting, and the relationship that we're trying to build and continue to build on. So some of the things that we think about when we think about PDF and document workflows, automation. So a figure there, 60% of documents not optimized for automation. Automation becomes an increasingly key part of our business structures. So more and more, it's important that the solutions that our customers have can adapt to automation, can support automation, and we need to make these processes as streamlined as possible. Unstructured data, 50% year-to-year growth in unstructured data. Now, that figure is about 4 years old. That came from Gartner in 2018, I think, but it's still relative today. And even if it's a lot less than that, the fact is that there's an awful lot of unstructured data that we don't have access to or clear access to for a reporting perspective. That creates increased workload for the IT teams. It increases the problems with reporting. From a compliance perspective, we've seen companies where they are penalized for not being able to access data within a time frame, particularly in litigation and legal elements. So unstructured data has a very widespreading impact for a business, not always seen at the front line. Security and compliance, this is a really big one. I think we're all guilty. Companies don't tend to secure their PDF documents. And what we find is that Acrobat is typically it's still seen as Acrobat Reader from 40 years ago. It's a final format document. It's still seen that way. It's still treated that way by many customers. So that means that they're not thinking about the security. It's a completely editable document now. We need to think about the security. We need to make sure that our data, our information is safe and secure. Here it says that 92% of your public-facing PDFs are editable. Now, what that means in real terms is a competitor could download a company reports, the financial reports from another competitor's website. They can change those and they could post those up to a different website. Now, once that's published, the damage is very quick and it can affect share pricing. By the time that's changed and addressed, the damage is already done. So there are very significant things that we have to think about with security, given that the impact can be immediate and severe. 40% to 48% efficiency gained when document processes are connected with integration. Now that's a figure that's a significant amount when we think about efficiency gains for a business and what that means to that business and to the financial side of that business. When we've got integrations, we can make things seamless. This is when, and I think one of the key elements of the Acrobat solution is the relationship with Microsoft. So what we see with Microsoft, and we'll see in demo as well in Nata's slides, is that Adobe and Microsoft's relationship is second to none. So Microsoft have named Acrobat Sign as the preferred e-signature solution since 2017. Now, what that means in real terms to customers is that our integrations are native. We do the development work. We have architects working with Microsoft and Adobe together. We release our maintenance, we do our updates together. Everything is together. So you've got a really seamless integration with MS365, a number of Microsoft applications. So it really rings true as to how seamless this whole process can be, so that users don't have to be going in and out of different applications to use PDFs. They could do that from within the Acrobat itself. They could do it from Word, they could do it from Outlook, send a signature process. There's a lot to do. So given that 48% efficiency gained with integrations there, the better the integration can be, the better that efficiency gain will be. Accessibility, another one there. It says 46% of your PDF files are not tagged for accessibility. Now today, more and more, the brand and reputation of a company is extremely important. So accessibility is a really key industry as well. Now, I can't remember, there's a figure of how large that really is from the addressable market, and it's really significant. So we need to be thinking more about accessibility from an inclusion perspective, making sure that we can make those documents and that information accessible to all. Then we talk about document maturity. 32% of companies think their document practice is matured. I'll underline it says thinks. That doesn't mean it is. So it's really about understanding what a mature document practice is. They mean different things to different people. And I think some of the studies have shown, and the studies referenced there, I think, excuse me. And the studies really show that there's actually a very significant amount that don't understand what document maturity is. So in their mind, they have a mature document cycle from end to end with the process, but also with all the security and accessibility around it. I would probably challenge that 32%. From the customers that I've seen, I've not really seen anything like that sort of figure coming back. So even if it is 32%, it's still low, but it could actually be lower. So I'm going to hand over to Nata now, and then towards the end of the session, what we'll do is we'll just pick up on licensing and everything, and just have a little chat about product, because this is about a service element and a solution element rather than product. But do just want to touch on a few things. So Nata, I shall hand over to you.
Thank you so much, Dan. Just wanted to say hello to everyone. So as I've been already introduced, so my name is Nata Miljevic. I'm a Document Cloud Solutions Consultant, and we'll be talking today about everything about Document Cloud and document workflows integrated into different solutions. We'll obviously focus on Microsoft, but it will also end the session focusing on Acrobat Sign a little bit, because it is one of the top solutions that we see requested by our customers. So to start off with, I thought it'd be nice to maybe talk about the Document Cloud as a whole and what it actually compromises of. So in order for really organizations to reach the necessary compliance, something that Dan has mentioned in the previous slide, and also to reach the document maturity in terms of automation and in terms of document life cycles, Adobe's Document Cloud workflow platform gives organizations all the tools to really influence and improve their document life cycles, and we have a number of different solutions to actually achieve this result. So on the slide, looking from the left side to the right side, we've got firstly our desktop and mobile apps, and these are Adobe Acrobat and Acrobat Scan, for example. We also have Acrobat Sign, which we will talk in just a couple of slides, and these are for initiating digital or basic e-signature workflows. And then we also have the PDF document services. These are used for collaboration and for working from anywhere. And then finally, the document services APIs. So this one comes a lot in our customer calls, and it is the key to all document automation, really to understand how documents start from a creation process, how data flows into an agreement, how it flows out of an agreement into a signed transaction, and then back into a repository for the customer. So they really drive that automation and intelligence behind workflows. And very lastly, very importantly as well, all of our services are integrated across the Microsoft stack. We are, as Dan has said, very amazing partners, and we are the Microsoft preferred e-signature solution as well. So all our services are integrated directly into all Microsoft products, but not just Microsoft. Other applications as well. You can see just a small number on the screen. So I have Salesforce and Workday. We have, of course, ServiceNow, and many, many more. And if they are not available out of the box, we can leverage those APIs to connect to any solutions that our customers are using. So beyond the applications, we are making documents actionable, and we have services in terms of our solutions. So these are, for example, Sign, we have a Share, we have a Combine or Redact. Maybe you want to review and collaborate in a document. So all of these services are accessible for our users. So on the slide, it gives you sort of like an overview of what we can do with Document Cloud services. And of course, these are also available in APIs and SDKs. So we are making PDF accessible to third-party developers through these APIs, and so they can embed the document services into their own web applications. So giving them sort of a new way to deliver our services. So when we are pitching to customers, it's very important to say and get into a mindset that this is not a platform. Sorry, it's not sort of not a point solution, but more like a platform of solutions that customers can use together. So we mentioned that documents are part of a life cycle quite a few times. So the Document Cloud offering is really at the forefront of these digital document workflows or document life cycles. And they really do help and transform and shape all processes into digital experiences. And as a company, we are super proud of not only being on the creative side of PDF file format, but also how PDF has changed through the years. So let's take it back and think about when PDF was first created. And this is over 25 years ago. And it was designed to be this kind of a lock document format. And when you think about something that's really locked, a lot of people's perception of PDF is that it's like a photograph, for example, that it's taken and it's unusable after that point. And that's been something of a focus for us over the past decade. And we'll be looking at really improving that mindset around PDFs. So we really need to stop thinking about documents as a simple piece of paper. They are definitely dynamic in nature, and they can collect data and information that we can repurpose internally or externally. So documents and e-signatures are part of that life cycle. And we have a very nice visual representation on the screen of what that actually means when we think about documents, let's say within an enterprise. And we tend to think about them in sort of a three-part scenario. So first of all, we have the creation of documents. And then once the documents are created, how do you then change those documents or PDFs? So you can start with a PDF, you can start with a Word, maybe an Excel. So we want to really create those into beautiful live working forms for us. And then after that's created, we go into the collaboration zone for these documents. So, whether you are working with your colleagues to maybe mark up a document, and we'll see a small demo of this later, or maybe you want to comment or share a document for review. So how do we actually collaborate on these documents together? And the last part is really all about the execution. So how do we go about collecting signatures or approvals? And then how do we then process those documents internally or externally, whatever, if it's a customer or employee. So we've spoken briefly about the Microsoft integration and the importance of that partnership. This is very important. As Dan has mentioned, it does come out of the box and gives you a seamless experience. With Acrobat and Acrobat Sign, they can both populate within Microsoft solutions. And that means that customers can keep working the way they were working before, but it's going to give them a nice couple of shortcuts that they can embed into their workflows. So just a quick slide here. I won't spend a lot of time. It's just in terms of the licensing and understanding how these packages come together. So there are obviously different use cases that can be used across the document lifecycle, from creation to the signature, as I mentioned. So we are looking at three different segments. So we have our free services, which is the publish service. And then in terms of the document creation, transformation, and extract services, APIs, these come together in a package. So they are charged sort of as a service. So every time you call a service, that is a separate charge, but they do come together in the same package. And then the Acrobat Sign package comes together, and that is a separate license. Let's jump into and look at the world of PDF very quickly. So PDF is the standard for exchanging information. We have some statistics on the screen here. So first one, 300 billion PDFs opened in Adobe products in the last year. And 40% of all documents received through Microsoft Outlook are actually PDF, so not their own file format. So this is the research that Adobe has done. So it's very clear, and we can see from the statistics that PDF is really the format for businesses by far. And we can see that PDF is really important. So it's something that we use every single day. So, regardless of if you're using PDF for work purposes, you probably use PDF in your free time as well. And we can use a variety of Adobe Acrobat services to tackle different tasks. So Acrobat makes it really easy to sort of combine, organize, rotate pages. We can extract pages and content, make sort of last minute edits, work on approvals perhaps, share the documents. We might have multiple people maybe reviewing it. And then finally, we might want to convert the documents to PDF, from Office to PDF, and also from PDF to Office documents as well. So all of that is available with our licenses. Very last slide here in this segment. So if companies do decide to embrace Acrobat with the Microsoft investment, there are some good news. So Forrester concluded that an average of a return of investment of Adobe Acrobat is over 300% return on investment over 3 years. So this will save organizations a lot of time, IT overhead, and materials as well. And it will also allow them to close businesses a lot faster. Now, in the next segment, I want to just showcase Acrobat Sign separately. As I've mentioned, we do get a lot of customers requiring e-signatures as a standalone solution. So I want to talk to you about actually what Acrobat Sign is. So Acrobat Sign is Adobe's e-signature solution, and it provides a very simple signing experience. So very easy to send documents of signature, to prepare documents, and of course to sign documents on any device. So we'll see this in motion in just a couple of slides from here. Again, just to reiterate one more time, Acrobat Sign is Microsoft's preferred e-signature solution and has pre-built integrations that run directly inside Microsoft. And they're very easy to deploy and to use. And as Dan has mentioned, we work together with Microsoft to build on these integrations. So we will always have the first upgrades, the first experiences with Microsoft, and they will all be much, much better than any of our competition. And to finish off, the Sign platform is secure and compliant as well. So e-signatures comply sort of with the broadest range of security standards, which are recognized around the world. In terms of the value adds, we have three main segments for Acrobat Sign. So I'll go through these very quickly now before the demo. So the first one is to drive efficiency and speed. So reducing manual signature steps saves employees. We have concluded 1.5 hours per transaction. So it does reduce the use of paper documents, and it reduces the cost of using paper documents, and that's an average of £5 or €5 now per transaction. So switching to a digital signature process really does reduce the costs of all the manual labor such as shipping, paper, printing documents, scanning documents, and obviously using ink to do all these processes. So also standardizing regulation is also very, very important. So, reducing compliance risks, and also reduce unnecessary costs and lost opportunities for higher work value. Lastly, another important aspect is the turnaround time. So we understand that documents that require all the manual steps that we've already mentioned consume a lot of time and obviously labor, and at the same time money as well. So today's employees and customers really are requiring completely digital self-service experiences. And sometimes if it's a manual process, it often takes them weeks to complete a particular process. And that's what we're trying to change here with Sign, by using all of these intelligent workflows, by signing, on any device, on a mobile or a laptop, on the go, completing forms and e-signatures. So you are actually through that process eliminating many different tedious steps that normally employees handle manually, every single day. So all organizations can really accelerate all those processes and reduce that time to revenue. So with Acrobat Sign, e-signatures are most certainly legal and trusted. So during the signing process, again, we will see this in a demo. The signer certificate is cryptographically bound to the document using a private key that's uniquely held by the specific signer. And we see that with a blue bar that's assigned to the top of the document. So what happens is when you send out a document for signature, the recipient receives the document, he signs the document, and then it gets sent back to you. And then once you download a copy of that document, you see that blue bar at the top of every single document that's gone through the sign transaction. And that means that the document has not been tampered with. So it's sealed for any editing. And it's also very easy to track transactions. So once we send them, we can go to our manage page. We can have a look at where the documents are currently at. We can have a look at the order report and also check, the cycle times, how long it took somebody to complete that process. And just a couple of more slides on the integrations and Microsoft investment. So Acrobat Sign, of course, has a wide range of pre-built integrations that customers can add to their systems. You can see a couple of them more shown just on this slide here. So they can really build their electronic signatures into the business applications they are using every single day. And that will sort of eliminate that need to bounce in and out of applications and create a more focused approach for the customer as employees. So on here, we have Microsoft Office, we have ServiceNow, Salesforce, Workday, etc. Viva is a good one as well for health companies. Google also there. So all of these can, of course, be integrated out of the box. And then if it's not out of the box, then it's one of our APIs. So Microsoft's preferred e-signature solution, as I mentioned before, so seamlessly does integrate with all the apps that you can see on the screen here. And we'll see some of them on the demo today. So SharePoint I'll cover a little bit of Teams, and I'll cover a little bit of Word as well. So with these integrations, as I mentioned, really helps customers completely digitize that document process. And that, of course, includes the creation, the editing, the signing, the approval. So this we'll all see in an example. And just to give you a more holistic view of how this works, so you can see how all of these Microsoft applications individually connect into Acrobat Sign and Acrobat PDF services as well. So all of these applications have both of these services as out-of-the-box solutions. Let's jump into the demo now and have a look at Sign and Document Cloud services in action. I'm just going to come out of here. I've got 3 demonstrations for you today. I'll try and make those as quick as possible. I can see we're a little bit going out of time here. Hopefully everything is large enough on the screen here. So for the first demonstration, I just want to show you how a basic signature workflow looks like from our Acrobat Sign web portal experience. So this is sort of the first step on how our customers use this service. So very simple browser experience. You log into your account. You can see it's just showing my name on the right-hand side here. And from here, we can just send a document off for signature. So what we want to see happen is send a document off for signature, add our tags, or maybe use a pre-created document, go through the signing motion and have the document come back to us signed. So in order to really kick off that process, we click on the send screen or request e-signatures here. And that will take us to the send screen. And it sort of mimics a little bit like an email. So you have your recipients at the top, you have your messaging or your body here, and then you have your attachments just at the bottom here. So let's go ahead and enter in a recipient here. We can, of course, do multiple recipients. We support up to 25 recipients here as an out-of-the-box functionality. Customers can increase that to 99 if they need a more complex workflow. I'm going to just be using one signer today, just to make it very simple. In terms of signer roles, we have a different signer roles. So we have obviously a signer. If you go with a signer role, then you have to have a signature applied oh my God. Words all muddled up. So if you do have a signer experience, you must have a signature field applied there. Then we have an approver, we have an acceptor, certified recipient, form filler, and a delegator. So this one is often used for witness signing. So you can delegate the signing to another person to witness sign a document. I'm going to just use a signer. We also have some authentication methods here. We support email, phone authentication, Acrobat Sign authentication. I'm missing a password authentication here and a government ID. So all of these are used like on top of the basic email notification system to just add some extra security into your transaction. So you're challenged before you open a document for signing. Let's just use an email here. And we can, of course, add, multiple recipients in terms of groups here. You can also add yourself, and also you can sign on behalf of a company with an electronic seal here. So all the messaging can be stored on our account, so we don't have to type that in manually. And then we can add our files by dragging or dropping the files here. We can also add the files here through our templated documents, so something that we can create as a user, and we can also share it with our group, maybe with my department, or with the whole Acrobat Sign account here. And of course, fully integrated into cloud storages that you see just on the screen here. So if you are saving, or the customer is saving documents within one of these cloud storages, they can be also sourced from here as well. So I'm just going to use this NDA, click on attach. I can, of course, add multiple documents as well. That's not a problem. And all of these will be rendered through, and the finally signed document will be a PDF document. We, of course, can add multiple different file types. So we can use a Word document, you can use a PowerPoint presentation. So all those files added in here all together and just merged into PDF in the end. Other options just on the right here, you can add a password protection, you can add a completion deadline, and set some reminders here as well. Let's now preview the authoring environment. So if I wasn't using a templated document, I could add all my tags here manually myself. You can completely skip this process. If you're using a templated document, there's no need for you to go into this authoring environment. We have our recipients listed on the right-hand side here. I only have one today, it's Steve Walker. All of the fields here are assigned to him. And you can see there is a brown color assigned to this first recipient, which is also depicted in the boxes here as well. Signature fields, we have, basic electronic signatures, digital signatures, so certificate-based signings, initials, signature block and stamp. Signer info fields are the ones that you can see on the screen here. Title, company, name, email, and a date. Data fields, these can be a little bit more dynamic nature. We can also add some validations maybe here, maybe a postcode or maybe a phone validation, for example, or maybe we want to add a regular expression. So make it our own expression and value. And then under the condition section, we can really make these forms even more dynamic by showing and hiding particular parts of that form. And then other things under data fields, drop-down menus, checkboxes, readme buttons, and images. More fields, file attachments, and hyperlinks can also be included in here. I'm just going to send this transaction over and have a look at the signing process now with my recipient. So just received an email here that is coming from myself, and we are requesting a signature on this document. Branding is visible throughout this transaction. So you might have noticed on my account, I have a little bit of branding just in the corners. And then I have some branding here as well. So obviously this can be a depicting of the customer who's using the service. And these can be fully branded to get rid of any mentions of Acrobat Sign. We can just review and sign agreement directly from here. Click on the link. It's going to open up that transaction format for us. We'll see some information here as well, maybe give our recipients some guidance on how to fill out this document. And then we just simply click on start. It'll take us down the document to where we need to sign and simply click to sign the document. Now, I'm already a known user. This is why this process is a little bit more seamless than the one that you would see with a completely new customer that's never had an Acrobat Sign account or would not like to have an Acrobat Sign account. So in these instances, the options to sign are to type in the signature, to draw the signature, add an image, and also we can send this to our mobile phone to sign with our finger. I'm just going to use the type option. The name is also taken from my account. Again, if the user doesn't have an account, this will be a manual input. Under the options panel here, we can for sure delegate the signing to somebody else. If we are not the right person to sign, we can also delegate and decline to sign this agreement. And essentially what will happen, the transaction will come to an end because the transaction is part of a legal process. So once somebody in that process declines to sign, that will essentially end that transaction for us. We also have an option to wet sign this document as well. Once we're happy with that, let's click to sign. And let's go back into our inbox and have a look at the final notification. And that is a you signed or finally signed notification. If we scroll down, we have the cover sheet just applied here to this transaction. And we can download that and open that up just to have a quick look of what that signed document looks like in Acrobat here. So we can, of course, open it in Acrobat within a browser. That's not a problem. But what I wanted to show you is this blue bar, which is assigned at the top here. So this is the security measure that I mentioned in my slides. It really is giving us an indication that this is a secure and encrypted document and that it's not been tampered with in any way. If anybody was to tamper with this document, the blue bar at the top will disappear for you. If I click on edit PDF here, you can see directly from Acrobat, we are not given this option at all. So we cannot do this in Acrobat. Scrolling down, we have the signatures applied. And then also with this transaction, very importantly, if ever challenged in a court of law, this order report will serve its purpose to show the intent of signers to complete this document. So we'll give you that events history of when a document has been created, when it was emailed, maybe it was approved by somebody, maybe they've used the second factor authentication. All of our reminders can also be embedded within this order report as well. So we'll give you the full timeline of what has happened to this document. That's that for the basic demo, and I'm going to jump into just to show you a couple of options of what we can see with Microsoft. So just reload to this because we need it. So I'm going to show you our SharePoint integration first. So just jump into here, actually. So everything that we've seen within the web portal experience can be done within SharePoint. So I won't go through the full experience. I'll just walk you through to understand how it works. So it is simply an application that you add to the SharePoint investment, and it comes up as an Acrobat Sign tab here at the top. And if you go to the settings page, this is where you make all the connections and you set up your document storing methods. So if you want to have a particular folder where all the documents are stored automatically, this is where you would do it. And just be mindful, you're never leaving the SharePoint environment. You can see at the top, it is still showing as a SharePoint environment. So everything is done directly within this investment. So this is where you sort of make your connections, where you set up your signed file folders, and also a very interesting setting that we have here, which I want to actually show you today on a call, is the template mappings. So we have the option of data flowing in and out of agreements. It's something that we mentioned already today. So having those dynamic agreements, so customers can repurpose that information that is flowing in and out of that agreement. So through data mapping, we can do just that. And this is managed through the setting here. So we can have the information moving from a SharePoint list into an agreement. So before the agreement actually reaches the customer, it will be already populated with all the important information very unique to this customer. And then we also have the option of the agreement data flowing back into a SharePoint library as well. And I will need some of your assistance on the call today. I'm going to show you what we'll be doing today. So I have the student enrollment list where I have also set up and connected this to a QR code. And I have this QR code on the desktop here with me. So if somebody from the audience doesn't mind scanning this QR code, you will notice that once that QR code is scanned, you will be presented with an Acrobat Sign web form. So we can connect it via a QR code, and that web form will allow you to fill out. In this instance, it's just a university form. So pretty sure not everybody wants to go back to university, but if somebody can fill out the information on here, I just want to show you how that data will flow back into SharePoint automatically once the agreement is completed. So I'll keep this list open. You can see there are no information here. And as hopefully somebody from the audience fills out that information, we'll see this populated directly on here. I'm actually going to do one myself as well, and just so we have a little bit more data on here. So for those of you that have opened the file, you can see that you can add your first name, last name, you can add your date of birth. It's giving you a very nice calendar there. I'm going to go with a younger date, of course. I think 2000 will be good. Then we have the phone number, home address. You can just put anything there. It doesn't have to be an actual address. I'm putting any street. Email address is important. So do please enter in an email address that the finally signed agreement will be going to. So once you've completed the form, you will be emailed this agreement over, select your course, and then enter in some information for emergency contact.
Nata, I'm sorry, but I wasn't able to capture that QR code in time. It hasn't worked. I don't know if you could, if I could try again.
Yes, please. Sorry, that was very quick.
Yep, that's done it. Thank you.
No problem. So if you're having some issues with the type signature, you can, with the drawn on signature, you can use a type signature. Sometimes that's a little bit easier for some customers. At the end, you will also be prompted to give your email address to finalize that transaction. So I've just done mine, is processing that agreement. I'm actually going to show you what it does. So once that agreement is done, you can also see that from here in a second, we'll just get rid of that. It's going to give me the signed, hopefully soon. Let's just bring it down here until that's done. Yep, so we can see that my university enrollment form has been done, and I can view that agreement directly from here. So similar process with the web forms as we have with the Send for Signature experience. And hopefully now, if I refresh, That's going to be automate. There you go. So Mario, thank you so much for filling this out. This is perfect. So this is just an example of how this is done. So Mario was a little bit quicker than me. So it is definitely populating here. And what customers can do, they can also extract this document out as a CSV file, and then they can repurpose that information and embed that into the system that they are using. So a very nice tool and a very nice integration with SharePoint. So as people will be filling out the documents, this will be showing up here. Let me just do a quick refresh, and there you go. Mine's just come up now on the screen there. So thank you so much, Mario. So last demo that I want to show you is in terms of the Power platform and in terms of Microsoft Power Automate. So in some scenarios where we don't have a seamless process out of the box using just the web portal experience or maybe a SharePoint integration. So just to give you an example of that, I'm just going to templates here. So for example, whilst we can store an agreement into a particular SharePoint folder, we can't store a separate workflow into a separate folder within SharePoint. So if you have multiple workflows storing in multiple folders, then you would leverage Power Automate to create those workflows. So a great thing that we have in terms of templates, so customers who are very new to Power Automate and want to build these complex flows, they can simply search for templates. So if I type in Adobe here, you can see there are many different workflows here that they can leverage out of the box. And it's a very simple flow. They simply just need to click on it. First one is actually the SharePoint one, which is perfect. So sharing it into a SharePoint library, and all they need to do is really connect their flow to their particular SharePoint environment and to the Acrobat Sign user account. Click on continue, and that's going to automatically, obviously you need to give it a path, so where within which folder that's going to be stored in, and create that flow. So that is a very simple process. Now you can of course create more complex flows with the data being dynamically repurposed, maybe sending a document for commenting, doing some redlining examples, and that's what I want to show you today. So how do we integrate different platforms into a single flow through Power Automate? So what I've done here, let me just show you, go back into my documents here. So what I've done here is I've created an employment agreement, which needs to go to my manager or to the hiring manager, perhaps for an approval or for amendment before it goes out to the candidate for signature. So what we need to do in this instance, rather than, I think I didn't show you how to send document for signature. Apologies for that. So very easily just select the documents and then send for signature. I'm just going to show you that UI there just to see that it's exactly the same as we've seen in the web portal experience. And I'll go back and send an individual file. So there we are. You can see the exact same user interface. All the files are attached here, but we won't be doing that today. We want to be sending a single document out, and we want to be sending it via Power Automate. So very different flow. So we select 3 dots here and we automate that flow. And from here, it's going to show up. Yep, I have my redlining demo test. Obviously, you can call it whatever you want, maybe a little bit better than I did today here. And from here, it's going to run the flow on the right-hand side, and it's going to ask me to embed some information into this flow. And this is calling our document generation APIs. And this is what we mentioned today on the call as well. So start date, let's say 23rd February. And then salary, let's give it a nice salary here. Email, maybe I'm going to give myself the salary. And then down here, I'm going to select my manager. So already on this list, I have pre-populated managers that I can choose from. This list obviously can be more extensive. There could be more people here. I'm just going to use Steve Walker as another example. Let's bring this up. And then all I need to do is run this flow. So now if I go into Steve Walker's account again, now please note, you do not have to use the email flow here. I have used a Microsoft Teams integration. And it's going to take a little bit of time just to get this through because we are using a demo version of our SharePoint environment. So hopefully it won't take too long for the email to be sent. Let's try again to refresh. So we can do this either via email. Either via email or via the Teams application. So if you are using Teams to integrate this flow in, you will just get a notification in Microsoft Teams to say that an approval is requested for yourself. So let's just wait that to come through. And what we want to see as part of this flow, so as soon as we get that email, we want to change some information on a particular contract. and then there we are, and then approve it. Or maybe we don't want to change anything on a document. So you can see it's very clearly saying to follow a link to edit a document. And that's, again, leveraging our DocGen APIs. So you can see here, we're opening up a Microsoft Word document, which we're going to change. So on here, maybe I want to change the start date. So maybe it's going to be the 28th of February, and maybe the salary is going to be a little bit bigger. We've negotiated a different salary, and that's all that we want to change. So once we have done that, all we now need to do is automatically saving. We just jump out of that agreement, and now we go into the approve process. So this, again, is going to look a little bit better if you're using Teams. My Teams is using my corporate account. That's why I can't show you that today. But what we need to do here is either approve, reject, and give a reason if we want to for both. So I'm just going to approve this transaction and confirm. And I just want to show you, because this is going to be sent to my email, that the data, hopefully, nothing's gone wrong here, but the data should be updated now on that agreement. And that will give me that option of a review stage where you're actually, communicating with that document and changing information on it. So I'm just going to pull this up. We don't need that one. Just going to pull up here and wait for that email to arrive for my signature. And just received it now. I'm just going to show you that on the screen here. And you can see it is just giving me the same option, review and sign. Let's open up that agreement. So there we are, 28th of February, that's updated for us. And the salary we have changed to 150,000, and that's depicting just here. So again, as we've seen before, all we need to do now is click to sign. And again, I have an account, so my signature is populating that there automatically. Click to sign. And the very last step, we also want to have that agreement stored directly into SharePoint. So we have our document redlining folder here, and you can see just 13 minutes ago I did one here where it's automatically saved an NDA agreement here, and also all of these files here are all separate files that I've worked on within this flow. And what it does here, it actually saves a few seconds ago. This is the one we've done. I'm just going to open that and show you that is the correct one. It's taking a little bit of time, so you're going to have to trust me on that one. But yes, it saves the finally signed PDF document and also the changed offer within Microsoft Word. So you can have both of these documents, so the working copy and the signed document saved here automatically. Dan, I'm going to give you the last couple of minutes. Apologies, it took quite a bit of time here, but let me bring up the slides again and let you just finish the last part here on the screen.
Okay, thank you very much, Nata. Appreciate that. So I think we've taken you, Nata, shown you everything about, or not everything, but a lot about Sign in particular, and of course the whole Document Cloud benefits, the messaging, the approach really, excuse me, that we take with customers and supporting our partners. What we want to do here is just talk a little bit about the licensing. Most of you will be familiar with this already, but I think really just wanted to highlight that Adobe tried to make this as simple as possible with the VIP licensing. So as most of you will know, VIP licensing is tiered pricing. That means there's transparency for the customer, it's transparency for the partner. It makes it very nice and easy to predict where those customers are at the moment and where they could be if they want to go to the next stage, if they're close to that, to make the whole process more cost efficient for them in terms of understanding where their licensing is. It's a simple process on the ordering. Again, most of you will be familiar with that anyway. We have TD Signex here, Synex here, that can help you and guide you through all of that anyway, and do that work for you. Great visibility, which really underlines those two previous points as well. Multiple term options. So 1, 2 or 3 year options for VIP. There are benefits to the longer terms, of course, with a price lock guaranteed for the term of that duration. And co-terminating licenses. So on VIP, your customer can add licenses at any points during that term, and they will co-terminate. So again, good control and visibility. It just makes their licensing spend a lot more simple to manage and predictable. Thank you, Netta.
No problem. I think there's one more slide.
Yeah, I think there's a couple more. In terms of features, we get asked this a lot, and again, many of you will be, most of you will be familiar with this, but just want to highlight just a couple of differences between Acrobat Sign for VIP for business and in VIP for enterprise, simply because it really just helps to guide the conversation very quickly and makes it simpler for the customer to understand where they need to focus in terms of they can see a feature in enterprise that is a must-have for them, for example, then we don't really need to discuss business for them. They can see those differences, and we're happy to share everything transparently, of course. So in VIP for business, you can administer the users and groups from a single console. There is languages support. It does support qualified signatures. Integration with MS365 is also included with the business version. Again, this is the native integration we've been talking about. In VIP for business, you can create web forms, and the support and maintenance is included as well. Not all competitive solutions are, so it's really important to make that distinction to our customers so they understand that actually the rate that they see is an inclusive rate. We do know that other solution providers do provide a very aggressive rate, but then you have to pay additional for support, you have to pay additional for integration, additional for professional services, which is an optional extra anyway. And maintenance, so all of those except for professional services are included with ours anyway. And then in VIP for enterprise, over and above VIP for business, all pre-built integrations are included and the APIs. So if those pre-built integrations, and Nata covered a lot of those, if they're not already done and ready and accessible, we provide the REST APIs so that customers can build their own custom integrations. Workflow Designer, another feature in VIP for enterprise, and advanced languages support. And I think the last one is really quite a good one because it gives customers a good feel that they can have unlimited one-to-one expert sessions with Adobe support. So they can raise a support ticket, they can request a one-to-one expert session, tell Adobe what they want to know. If they just want to be shown how to do something in Acrobat Sign, then we can set that up and they'll have an expert connect with them and take them through the process on a one-to-one basis. And that's unlimited. They're 30-minute sessions, but being unlimited is really quite a significant benefit for customers. Thank you, Netta. Okay, so we've had a few questions, so we're just going to answer those. I just wanted to go back and touch on the security piece. Again, it's something that we haven't really addressed much. And there's a tiny exercise that we do quite regularly with customers, just to try and examine their PDFs for them and help them through that. So I'd encourage you and invite you all to do the same. If you want to have a look at the PDFs, the public-facing PDFs that your customers have, there's a little exercise there. We'll leave that on the screen for now. And it's just an easy way to find a customer PDF or your own PDFs and download those and check the security. Like I said at the beginning of this, I've done this exercise many, many times, and I've never seen one with any security on it. So it's really quite significant, and it's kind of the messaging that we're trying to take out to customers, and we're trying to be a trusted advisor to those and help our partners and our customers get that message across to them.
Thank you, Dan.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. And we have had a few questions. I don't know if I pass back to Rita at this stage, perhaps.
Hello. So the question, just before that, this is to answer you, Mario Fernandes, in this case. So Adobe Sign have already some pre-configured solutions related with Microsoft. So this can be integrated with ERPs or other solutions, but there is no API already done. So have to be done by the partner in this case. And the question is not, it's possible to send, to have a pre-certificate, digital certificate signature on a document type PFX and send to be signed with Adobe Sign?
So, sorry, PFX?
PFX.
PFX. I'll have to have a look in terms of certificates. So can I repeat that question again? So is that in the chat?
Yes, on a Q&A.
Yeah, I've done the yeah. It just said if you want to include this in the client's ERP or CRM through a PFX file, is it possible? And apologies,
right.
I'm not familiar with a PFX file.
No, I'm just looking in to see what that is. Personally, I don't think I've had that. So password protected file. Okay, so in terms of, are you looking to sign a protected file and then, so are you planning to send a protected file for signature? Is that the question? So I'm just trying to understand the question.
Meanwhile, I just have unblock all the microphones. So Mari, if you
That
want
would
to
be
jump
helpful.
in. He already replies, it's a dig certificate.
Oh, digital certificates. So,
Yeah.
I mean, yes, the Sign solution does support digital certificates. So it is a platform to request signatures, and then the recipient will need to have and hold a certificate to sign with in terms of an advanced or qualified certificate. So that is sourced through a trust service provider. And that's obviously a separate charge that the customer, or sometimes, either the vendor of the customer or the customer sometimes purchases on behalf of their vendors. And what we offer through Acrobat Sign is you can also have a couple of vendors, trust service providers, be a part of your Adobe contracts as well. So digital identity is one of them. So customers can also purchase these certificates alongside the Adobe terms and conditions as well.
And Nata, if I can just add to that as well, it's Acrobat Sign actually is the only solution, I believe still, that supports every TSP, every digital certificate provider within the EU. Thank you for that question, Mario. I think we have a couple of others here as well.
Yes, in terms of minimal order for Adobe Sign solution. So this solution can be used for a small company with just one user, and can be used for a large enterprise with multiple users using Adobe Sign and also Microsoft or whatever solutions. So it's suitable for any business, small, medium, large. So can be used in any one of those enterprises. I don't know if you have more questions here. I don't think so.
There is one more. Could you tell us more about what the differences are between Acrobat Sign features and the Sign workflow? Can you please elaborate just on the Sign workflow? Are you thinking about the Power Automate workflows or the workflow designer within Acrobat Sign? I'm just curious to know which one is referred to here.
So just in general, I wanted to hear more about the differences between the Acrobat Sign workflow and the Sign for business.
Oh, right. Oh, sorry, because we call it Acrobat Sign. So Acrobat signatures. Oh. Yes, not a problem. So yes, so you do have, so it's really unlimited signatures in Acrobat. It obviously does run the Acrobat Sign plugin, and you do get an audit report as well as part of these signatures workflow. Sorry, but what you wouldn't have options is the, for example, extended roles, adding additional authentication methods, setting up a workflow for if a template always goes to signer number 1, signer number 2 that you already have pre-configured, then you can leverage the workflow designer, for example. You don't have that in Acrobat. Then in terms of the integrations, the APIs, using Power Automate, so all of that would require an Acrobat Sign license. And then I think Dan also mentioned quite a few of them as well. For example, languages as well is another one. So there's an extensive list of the features that are not available in Acrobat as opposed to Acrobat Sign, and more than happy to send that across to you after the call if that's helpful. So we'll give you really a good indication of how to speak to customers based on their specific use case. So I would encourage you to do a discovery first, understand what is it that they exactly need to understand which product fits the customer best.
Yeah, and just adding to that, Nata, I think it's really important that customers understand as well that from an Acrobat license perspective, The documents are managed by the user and the repository and everything else. So it's down to the individual users to make sure that those company documents are stored within the company policies. Whereas with Acrobat Sign, the company policies and the storage can be dictated and determined by the company. So the company has control of the assets, whereas with Acrobat they don't. And that's quite a significant thing, because you're relying on every single user to follow the company policy to make sure those assets are safe, secure, and compliant. So Acrobat Sign takes away that burden and the responsibility for each individual and makes it a corporate policy. So it makes a very big difference between the two.
That's a great call. And also, for example, just came to my mind, like biopharma users as well, customers, you know, biopharma settings are not available through the Acrobat investment whilst they are in Sign. And just to go follow up on what Dan has said, you know, in terms of where the data is stored, with Sign, you have the option of choosing your data center. With Acrobat, you don't. So it is based on your location, and that's automatically assigned to you. And since recently, we've not had a data center in EMEA for Document Cloud, but this is something brand new. So we do have it now in Dublin, but previously it was a US data center. So, you know, now it's a little bit different, but there's more control of, like Dan has said, where data is stored, how your data is managed, you know, sending reminders, deadlines. So all of the good stuff is basically Sign driven.
Just one additional aspect regarding the Adobe Sign signature. In this case, the end customer, or the ones that we will send the document to be signed, doesn't have to have any licenses of Sign. So I have the license, my enterprise have the license, so I create the document, I send the workflow for the customer. Imagine if it is an end customer that is doing business with me. In this case, I have the transaction or the license to execute this action. In the end customer side, there is no need to have a specific requirement. So just need to have something to sign, and it's done.
That's a really good point, Pedro. Yeah. Absolutely.
Meanwhile, me, Rita, and Ricardo will be available afterwards for you to send someone of any extra requirement about information or whatever. So feel free to contact us. So in the end of this session, all of you will receive the recording, the content, and also our contact. So feel free to come to us and ask us for more information. And also, every time it's needed, Nata and Dan can support us to deliver a specific demo or to have a specific conversation about a specific case. So feel free to challenge us and also to help you to pass through this digital transformation with Acrobat Sign.
Yes, my apologies, because I don't know why I cannot turn my camera on. I don't know what's going on, but my apologies. Mas sim, como o Pedro referiu, mesmo que não consigamos responder às vossas questões, depois endereçamos para a Adobe e fazemos-vos chegar tudo o que for necessário, a informação que vocês precisarem para responder às vossas questões. Portanto, sintam-se à vontade para nos questionar. Não sei se mais alguém tem alguma questão para colocar.
E depois já está tudo respondido. Pronto, resta-me thank you, Nata and Dan, to be with us today. We hope that we continue to drive more sessions like this. Maybe next one physical, not virtual, we hope.
Yes.
But anyway, thank you for also continuous support, and also obrigado a todos por estarem presentes. Do lado da TDC Next, agradecemos a vossa presença. Por isso, também qualquer questão, estamos ao dispor. Obrigado, um bom dia e um abraço.
Obrigada a todos. Resta um bom dia. Thank you, Nata. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
Have a nice day. Thank you.
Bye now.
Thank you.